Hello there. Welcome to my new Tarot of the Month. It's an energy report or a sense of channeling what's coming up for the month of March. And I'm going to use the tarot, and I'm going to be, of course, using my intuition and channeling abilities and try to see what is coming up for us in the month of March 2020. First of all, though, I'm going to definitely burn my sage. I don't know if you want to burn some with me. Always a good idea before you do any kind of spiritual work to cleanse yourself and your space and to cleanse your cards. All right, so we have a lot on our plates this month. We have a lot of distressing things happening in the news. We have the coronavirus spreading. We have economies shutting down or shrinking because of this fear of the coronavirus. Tourism, shipping, you name it. Production. We also have here in Canada some movement on the Wet'suwet'en front to resolve the protests, but that has also shut down the trains for weeks. So it's a very hard to say why in the big picture of things, but something really big is going on when there's all of this sudden correlated blockage of movement all around, around a lot of the planet and around a lot of the goods and services that the flow of the economy that we all rely on. Something is telling us to stop and take a look. And it doesn't always mean it's for the bad, but it's scary for people, right? So let's just try to take a look. I'm going to try to see what I feel, what my guides and the cards in combination are saying for the month of March. All right. And I'll show you the cards as I choose them. So the first card here is the Nine of Discs, which says gain. So we're looking at all kinds of talks or energy around money. And this card doesn't suggest greed, actually. This card suggests working for it. If you look closer, underneath the number 9, there's a sign for Venus. And if you look closer, at the bottom of the card, there's a sign, the symbol for Virgo. So Venus in Virgo is somebody who is perfectionistic and usually more of an accountant, somebody who's going over every detail. And usually Venus in Virgo would be somebody devoted to service. And Virgo also can rule infrastructure and health. And this would be sort of money towards service or cleaning up your finances. It can also bring money to some of us, or you might just have a lot of this on your mind. Venus in Virgo will also be more frugal. They won't buy or do things that they don't need. It's not a luxury combination. So even though there is gain materially in this card, it's not used in a greedy way. And it also is a message for anybody who needs to do your taxes and get that all cleaned up before tax season. It's also maybe a message to plan and hang on to and save some of your money. Oh, another 9. The second card is the 9 of Wands. And this card at the bottom, if you see, it says strength. And it's very clear here. At the top of it, you see the sun. And at the bottom, you see a moon and Sagittarius. So the card sort of suggests the sun and the moon are in Sagittarius. Now, the 9 of Wands, you can see all of these wands are aligned. They're all symmetrical, but there's one main wand that's sort of in the center of it all. And they are sort of behind it. You can see that it's not crisscrossing in front of it, it's behind it. And this sort of suggests the strength of leadership, strength of keeping yourself together, keeping your goals or your mindset or your ideals, your values, because Sagittarius is usually talking about, well, anything from it's educational, anything that is global, anything that is, this is my truth and I'm saying it. This is my truth and I'm sticking by it. So the strength comes from, in a sense, sort of taking a stand, and people, you can look at these wands as people, with one main person and the others standing behind them. So that's sort of a nice message too, given what we were talking about going on in the news. This might be a signal that we need very strong leadership, or that somebody perhaps emerges. And this could be anything from, the Democratic the Democratic Party choosing somebody and someone getting behind them. This could be within any of the protest movements. This could be any country or health organization getting behind somebody who will lead. And we can also break this down in our personal lives and think about, where do you need to stand strong? Are you in a position of leadership or responsibility? Are others around you needing something like that? Would that be the solution in the case? But strength card's very good. So our next card is the Queen of Cups. So that throws something different into the mix. Queen of Cups is usually like a Cancer, Pisces, maybe Scorpio. As you can see, there's just all beautiful flowers, water, the swan. Sorry, it's not a swan, it's a heron. The heron is by her side. She's holding a shell as well. She's holding a lotus. The lotus, of course, is a symbol of triumphing over suffering, of enlightenment. And we see a couple of lotus floating and one in her hands. So this is a indication. The water's clear, it's reflective, it's clean, and the lotus emerges. And so there's sort of, self-awareness, self-love, awareness of others, compassion for others, triumph over suffering. Now the heron is an interesting, let me show you closer. You see beside her standing there is a heron. The heron is a symbol of patience and survival and precision, because the heron will absolutely still. And then all of a sudden, when it's exactly the right time, the beak just plucks what it needs. And they're sort of a very mystical bird. If you've ever seen one, they have a huge wingspan, like at least 6-foot wingspan. And they seem almost mystical. They can sort of appear in swamps and marshes and foggy nights, and they're quiet, very quiet. The Queen of Cups is also like that. She will be patient. She will wait. She will feel things out. She will grab, what she needs when the time is right. And she can be, what's the word? Well, she can also be very emotional and very nostalgic at times. She can be very motherly. She could be somebody in a transcendent kind of state of mind, and she could also be an intuitive. So this sort of brings in this feeling of needing to increase our feminine energy and reflect, calm your mind, go within, have compassion for everybody. Bide your time, wait for the right time for what you need. Our next card is the Queen of Swords. So she's completely different. This is a more academic or logical, doesn't like emotions, likes to, very quick, very clever, sort of very cutting with her words. You can see here that she has a sword and she's carrying someone's head in the other side. So we have, a woman with all of these sort of geometric shapes above her head, sort of suggesting her mental prowess, how smart, how clever, how far-reaching her mind is. And we have her sitting on a cloud or a throne in the sky. and she's cutting off someone's head. So you might relate to this person, this character, with someone in your life. In a bigger picture of things, I would see her as somebody who is exacting justice. So this could be anything from seeing court rulings, seeing, maybe appropriate punishments or sentencing. This could be somebody who comes in and just slashes something else in the name of clearing and cleaning it up. That's in her positive side. In her negative aspect, she can be very cold and cutting and not have much compassion for people. Everything in life has its purpose. So it's interesting that we have the nurturing, reflective, calm Queen of Cups, and then we have the cutthroat, let's get rid of that, chop chop kind of energy of two women. And it doesn't always play out as women, by the way. The next card is the Two of Wands. You see all the red. You see these two wands sort of swollen and clashing. You see at the top the symbol for Mars, and the bottom you see the sign for Aries, and it says dominance. So there's a fight for dominance. We can certainly see that if we look at American politics. We can see this all over the world. So I'm going to bring it less on a global scale and just say, be careful this month then of getting into clashes. Mars in Aries is fierce. It's quick, it's bold, it's fiery, it's blunt, it's impulsive. What it means is we have to be careful of not just saying something we don't mean, flying off the handle, taking hasty action, letting our anger out, letting our anger, rule us. And, of course, we might see this play out between countries, between political parties, between other standoff situations. It's in the air. But in our personal lives, let's just be a little more cautious not to fly off the handle this month. Oh, very nice. Interesting. Okay, our next card is the Empress. So the Empress is like the spiritual mother figure. So she's like the Queen of Cups, but even stronger. She'll have a little more leadership quality, or she'll have a little more clout than the Queen of Cups might. The Queen of Cups can be satisfied to just be in the background. Nobody has to really see her. She doesn't sometimes feel even the need to talk all the time. The Empress is taking on a role. She's clearly on her throne. She's got the swan and the little babies. She's got her lotus in front of her. She's sort of cradling her arms. She's got the moons beside each arm, upper and lower, the cycles of the moon, and she's got a family crest, and you have Venus at the bottom, and she's got the ball and scepter at the top of her head, suggesting her God-given or spirit-given power to lead. So I love when I see a card like this, especially with a card of conflict, that we see, again, a positive leadership emerging, and that leadership is feminine. Doesn't always mean it's a woman. It's just feminine energy is respected, meaning compassion and patience, tolerance, and care for people. Patience and gentle negotiation. So we have somebody who looks like they will come into the picture and smooth things out, or lead in a more graceful, gentle way. Our next card for this month is the Six of Swords. Six of Swords, you can see here the perfect circle, the cross, the swords all meet in the middle. It's a very peaceful, organized looking card. The light blue, all of the geometric shapes look very symmetrical as well, very airy. And you can see Mercury at the top, an Aquarius at the bottom, and it says science. So, I mean, we can't not think about the health crises when we see a card of science. But we can also think about it with really organizing things, cleaning things up again seems to be a big theme. Like a surgeon, going over every little detail and organizing it and naming it and finding, I would say, finding maybe a vaccine could be part of this card. Going over the treaties, if it's the Wet'suwet'en crisis. Politically, well, somebody might be going over fine points of the law. We might see that come into the debates. I like the card because you just see how sort of cool and calm and intricate and organized it is. This is the energy that we bring to March when it comes to whatever the central conflict was. There's really just that one card of conflict. The rest is all talking about leadership, strength and leadership, and yeah. So we're going to move on to the next card. Our next card is the Hierophant. So the Hierophant here it says Taurus at the bottom. It's a complex card, as you can see. So the Hierophant is like a messenger from spirit. In the original decks, the Hierophant is called the Pope because he's supposed to be the messenger between God and us. Now, a Hierophant nowadays could be anybody, like a teacher, a spiritual teacher. Can be sometimes people that are gurus or call themselves gurus. It can be anybody who has a position of wisdom, who's highly educated. You can see the light around his head, suggesting enlightenment, literally, about something. And if you really look closely, it won't focus on the card so well, sorry. There is, around the light, there is a snake. And there are little shards or arrows or swords coming at the snake. The snake is powerful, represents, transformation and change and wisdom and transcendental states, meditation, going into trance, shedding your skin, death and rebirth. And, these arrows, and the snake is protecting him from that. And it suggests somebody who has gone through many trials and tribulations, has done a lot of inner spiritual work. This person should be qualified to help us bring conversation to a new level, help us sort out problems on a deeper level. This could be a psychologist too. This could be somebody. It's a wise person who comes into play. And the last card for this month is the Three of Cups, abundance. So this is looking very good. Again, we see Mercury, and this time in Cancer at the bottom. So I'm just looking, we have two cards of Mercury, and we have, our overall signs are Virgo, Sagittarius, Cancer, Aries, Aquarius, Taurus, and Cancer. Again, lots of balance in that. Abundance is a pretty clear card, isn't it? I mean, take a look at how the water is flowing, the flowers are bursting and full, The water is full of light. The fountain just keeps going. It's very clean and clear. All the rings in the water that form, and it almost looks like a celebration or a wedding or something is going on, a party. And it suggests that your creativity is in flow. Your emotions are in flow. Nothing's blocked. Nothing is getting in the way. So I love this reading actually because the only card, and it's funny, it ends up right in the center. I lie them down 3, 3, 3 in rows. And so the central card is the oppositional fighting, the duking it out, the impulsiveness of anger. And so maybe that's going to be a theme for us or in the world. But every other card around it is supporting people that are organized. Venus in Virgo, Mercury in Aquarius. There's going to be people around who are like feeling for what's going on with everybody, opening the issue up to look at solutions in a more grounded way, consulting experts, people who are going to actually step out and lead and calm things down by being methodical, by perhaps going to the law, by perhaps relying on scientifically proven strategies, patterns that clearly have worked, procedures that have been developed that work, finding new procedures and strategies that work is another one. So we really can have hope this month. And if there is some areas where you do feel angry, or something sets you off, try not to say anything rash, try to consult with your own experts around you and try to be methodical in how you're going to approach your anger, and find calm solutions that can suit everyone as best you can. However, I'm going to say I get the feeling myself overall that March is going to feel like a big cosmic broom is sweeping through. And that just means that we're cleaning things up. When you clean things up and it's long overdue, sometimes, you have to get in there and remove some nasty stuff in order to clean it. But I get this push towards cleaning up our lives. That means that, and it also coincides with spring, but anything that really isn't serving you anymore, anything that you have some control over changing that's bothering you, it's time for it to be changed. Just let it change. Let this sweeping and cleaning and organizing and reordering, let it be enjoyable. It's okay to let things change, let things go, realize you've outgrown things or people. We're going towards such beautiful cards of abundance that and of using things, resources in a healthier, more grounded way, that I feel overall very optimistic for the month of March. So if you would like your own personal reading for this month or for longer, you can reach me at the links down below. My website is river-rain.com. My Facebook is Clairvoyant Guide Catherine Allen. And you can also subscribe to me on Patreon. I'll put the link below if you're interested in readings and more stuff that I offer if you subscribe. All right. I wish you a wonderful month.